It is 8 p.m., my brothers and sisters. We are live from the Eastern Cape. It's been such a painful week. Now's the time to engage with you on matters that matter to you. Why? Because it's topical. A very good evening to you, South African, those watching around the world. My name is Blaine Herman, and this is It's Topical. We're live from Scenery Park in East London. This community is hurting. They've lost precious lives. The pain and the trauma is so apparent, and you would expect that, isn't it? It's just been a week. 21 young lives cut short. Teenagers, 21 of them. They had their whole lives ahead of them, majority of them teenagers. Lots of questions to answer. Why? Why did this happen? What is the cause? What were the circumstances leading up to this tragedy? We will try to get you some answers right here on the program tonight. But we also want to broaden it a bit, look at the bigger picture. So on our question of the week, we are asking you, as a nation, what sort of lessons have we learned from the Eastern Cape Tavern Tragedy? Please send us your thoughts at It's Topical. Also, you can give us a call, 011-714-5958. We'll redirect your call from Johannesburg right here to the Eastern Cape. We also have a live audience here. They're made up of community members, the clergy as well. They want to find solutions. How do we get to that better place? We bring in the guests as well, the guests with the answers to your questions right here on It's Topical, at It's Topical SABC. Now I want to set the scene for you. So many people are at pain today. They are grieving for their loved ones, but there are people who managed to survive. Take a look at this report from Hlela Mkoko.
It was the morning of the 25th June 2022 when more than 20 bodies of miners came out of eNyobeni Tavern. The place was packed with miners who were allegedly given free food and alcohol. One of the neighbors, Nkosinathi Msutu, says it's not the first time that someone has died in this place.
I think it was 2 months back.
We spoke to survivors who say it was a very traumatic experience to see their peers dying in front of them.
Thina sibuhlungu man, sibuhlungu nyanga ngendlela errong and siba right ngoku ngosuke sifumana uncedo ekuhlaleni kuba kukhona lento ye-counselling.
Phofa ngikho right. Uba right ucinga uba right. But bekho emini oveske uba like uqalele eqala awukwazi uyilibala because nane ichomi yami esoleke pha every time xa ndibona into edibenisene nayo kanye ndicinga na xoxa into zematch iyabuya la nto yaphaya.
Mna ndibhetere mna kunaqala sithi sifumene komama uncedo wapha kuthi ohlala pha kuthi ehlaleni usincedile la mama kakhulu.
And they told us how things played out that night.
Event ke ibipostwe ku Facebook sis ba yonke into ke ngu-free ukutya ku-photoshoot jwala.
Usixa usiya ethilini xa uthenga into unikwe ibhotile e-free xa mhlawumbi uthenge into phaa wena busela phaa bunikwa nesavana sezivuliwe unikwe isavana evuliweyo and buyiva xa ivayo ayiyo isavana liqhelekileyo inuka ndala.
Phaya bekuspraya into ugqiba kuvala icango. Mna into endiyibonile isecurity eqhwabe umntana wentombazana phambi kwam. Imqhwabela le nto elila etsarhwa yinto. Ngixelela uba uyamngxilela bathini bona because nabo baxakane nento. Ingoku ezitepsini ke ngoku abantu babhubhanyana bayanyathela. Abanye baveske bafende yile nto bathi iyabatsarha.
The community is pointing fingers at the municipality for not ensuring and enforcing the bylaws. And they are also blaming the liquor board for not making sure that the establishment is abiding by the rules.
You have the police, which are not enforcing the terms of the liquor license, terms of the the opening and closing times. You also have a liquor board that had even, in fact, now with the new upgrades, had still not came to make an assessment of whether or not, in light of the upgrade, is the place still compliant.
The Buffalo City Metropolitan Municipality says they're going to take steps to ensure that incidents of this nature don't happen in future.
We're actually looking in terms of ways of remedying that situation. I think that much says we are taking responsibility, but I think the community as well has got a role to play. I think they actually have to be our informants on the ground. From an incident point of view, we're also putting together programs for other tavern owners so that we can actually firstly nip this in Scenery Park, work with the current tavern owners in that area, and then broaden it, workshop our councillors to actually have a better understanding of what their role is.
A week later, it is still not clear what really happened on that fateful day, and police are still investigating. On Wednesday, there's going to be a mass funeral for all the victims who died on the 25th of June 2022. For It's Topical, I'm Hlela Mqoqo, SABC News, Scenery Park in East London.
All right, Hlela, thank you very much indeed for that report. At the very basic human level, it pulls at your heartstrings, isn't it? Because you automatically think, if you're a parent, what if that's my son? What was if that was my daughter? It hits home at a very, very, very deep level. What do we know in terms of this tragedy? Control, if you could just put up those graphics. I just want to give the viewers a sense of the information that we have so far. I'll just read it out to you, have it in front of me. So what we know at this stage is that the autopsies performed on the 21 deceased young people, the youngest victim, we understand, was just 13 years old. Samples have been sent to the lab in the Western Cape for investigation. The report, we understand, will be shared with the affected families as soon as investigations have been concluded. And as it stands, and you heard from Hlela Mqoqo's report there, is that this Wednesday, is going to be this mass funeral. What do we need to know? And it's very simple. The cause. What led to this? It's just a simple answer. Well, it's a simple question. It's a complicated answer. Let's bring in people in the know right here. We have at the St. Peter's Methodist Church. This is where we're being hosted. We have Brigadier Tembankosi Kinana, the Eastern Cape Police spokesperson. In the middle, we have Afika Siziba, the District Director for the Eastern Cape Social Development Department in BCM, as well as Zukile Kani, Chief Director, Department of Community Safety in the Eastern Cape. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Important as well. So just with regards to the audience here, our guests made up of community members, if you want to ask a question to our guests, please raise your hands. We have Hlela, we have Ntsiki as well. You can ask it in the language that you are comfortable with. We'll get a translation for the viewers back at home as well. We want to get you answers. That's the whole purpose of us being here. How do we get to a better place? Brig, appreciate your time once again. First question to you, and I guess it's in the minds of everybody who's watching this. Why were children drinking at a tavern?
Thank you very much, Blaine. I would like to greet the viewers at home. Before I answer that question, would you allow me to send the condolences on behalf of the South African Police Service to the families that are affected by this tragedy. The question is why the children are drinking in the tavern. That is a very difficult question, I must concede, Blaine. Because in this country, people have a right to movement, they have a right to enjoy themselves. They have, parents, guardians, that should look after them. In this particular case that we are talking about, we would not know at this stage what had happened. However, we have had that young children have been in that particular tavern, and those are the questions that are confronting all of us. And we obviously looking for answers, which is why, as the South African Police Service, we are sitting with cases that we are investigating as we speak, so that at the end of the day we can get to understand from those that are running those taverns.
Full disclosure, we landed this morning and we did a cursory look at where eNyobeni is. And what I noticed was, I'm not sure if that is a satellite police station, but it's a stone throw away from where this place is. There are complaints or concerns from certain community members that I've heard this week is that police reacted late. When this place, that police station is just a stone throw away. Why?
Let me say, Blaine, we have had actually about these concerns. We have appealed to the people that actually reported, went to the police station or called the police to come forward so that we can investigate, these allegations. I must say, they are serious allegations. Remember, we have a responsibility as the SABC to make sure that we deliver services, to our communities as speedily as they are needed by the communities. So if anything contrary to that has happened, we are obligated as the management of the SABC to take actions. At this point in time, I would therefore call upon all those that made those calls or actually went, to the police station to come forward so that we can register those complaints and make sure that there is an complaints and investigation underway.
My understanding is that the investigation at the scene is now complete. When can we expect the outcomes?
We have actually closed the scene.
Right.
We've finalized the work that we've been doing there. And as the place now is open, however, we know that Liquor Board has taken action in terms of making sure that that place is not operating anymore. I think that they will elaborate on that. Yes, our investigation started there. We did everything that we could do with our forensic experts. And even during the autopsies, there are some samples that were extracted from that from the bodies. The samples that we would have taken there have now been taken to the laboratory, as you correctly indicated earlier, for toxicology examination. We are expecting results anytime. We're hoping that very soon we will be getting those results so that at the end of the day we know what exactly happened.
Will parents know before they bury their children? The funeral's happening on Wednesday. Would they know before that?
Blaine, I would not say that is possible. In as much as I can say it's not. Let me say that let us wait for the experts to give us the report so that at the end of the day we know what to expect out of it.
Ms. Ziziba, you heard what the brigadier had to say. It's important to establish the facts, sets the scene, gives the parents, gives those parents of survivors a clearer picture of what we're dealing with. And a lot of people over the week or so have been, for a lack of a better word, moralizing. Who is to blame? Where were the parents? Why didn't the parents know where they are? I'm not sure if it's helpful. You could tell me, correct me, if it is necessary to play the blame game now. Why? Because I was listening to Bishop Malusi from the South African Council of Churches, General Secretary Pulmarana, and he was saying that he was talking about a study that was done with regards to looking at the family structure. And From that study, it said that about 32%, just 32% of families in South Africa have both mothers and fathers present within the family sector, which means 62% are either raised by a single parent or a child-headed household, which tells you that you have a lot of exhausted parents out there, going to work when it's dark, coming home when it's dark. Where is the time to adequately parent when you're working so hard? Talk to us about the lived realities in an area like this.
Good morning, Blaine. Good morning to the viewers, and good morning, good evening. I'm still in the morning. Good evening also to the audience. As social development, we have come face to face with the pain and the grief, tangible grief of families, not just the affected families, not just the families that have lost their children or the ones that had children in hospitals, but the communities and also the families of the children that have been affected. And also the children that were there as well. They are hurting, they are grieving. In pain and in suffering, it's always easy to look for someone to blame. But our observation is that we all must look inward. We all must look at ourselves. We all must interrogate ourselves. And then we can look outside on who else was supposed to have done this and done that. Indeed, everyone comes from a family. And if families are broken, the product from that family is going out to the community. Coming straight to your point, Blaine, community now is characterized by working parents, where you find that everyone at home, that is adults, are working whatever form of work that is, be it formal, be it informal. They leave homes in the morning, they come back very late. And when that happens, you find that people that are supposed, which are the adults, I'll put it that way, because there are families where there are necessarily no parents, but adults, and even child-headed homes, youth-headed homes. When they come back home, they don't have time for anything else. They are tired because of the kind of work that people are doing. The stress is out there because there's so much pressure on people's minds, on people's souls. They don't have time for children. Children as well, they go out, they go to schools, they go everywhere. They are exposed to a number of issues, social ills that are affecting their thinking, their mentality. And they come back home thinking, home is a healing place. I'll find someone who would listen to me, someone who would give me guidance. But unfortunately, that is not happening because of all the pressures that are felt by everybody. So blaming parents wouldn't be necessarily fair if you have not looked at what is affecting parenthood, what is affecting families. There are homes where there are no fathers. There are homes where there are no mothers, and those children, they need guidance.
No, I understand fully, and I can say this boldly, is that some children lie. I know it because I did it myself. Wanted to go to a party, tell your mother, I was raised by a single mother, that we're going to a friend's house just to get our way. It happens. We have to look at the youth culture in totality. Mr. Kani, from Community Safety, our children, our teens in townships and villages generally drinking or turning to alcohol because there's a lack of recreational facilities, a lack of areas, safe spaces where they can go and just be teens. Whose responsibility is that?
Thank you. Let me start by greeting everyone, also the viewers at home. We do have a serious challenge when it comes to keeping our children occupied due to the reason that we have named. But first I need to indicate that since this tragic incident, I've done some sort of profiling of the area itself. There seems to be a high element of unemployment in the area first. You see people that could be gainfully employed that are sitting around, and also the lack of proper structures for crime prevention within the area itself. So we are not in a position to be blaming one another. We need to take a collective responsibility of the situation itself. Also, we need to establish community safety structures so that we can prevent crimes from happening. We need our social partners like the Department of Basic Education, so that at schools sports can be revitalized, so that also after hours the children will not have the urge to go and engage in such activities that include alcohol. Also, if you look at the, as you correctly indicated that the youngest was 13, but if you look at the so I have to mention this, if you have to look at the sexual offenses and you look at the victim as well as the perpetrator, they are all within the age, the young age. But then in most instances, it is either alcohol or drug related. So we need to also come up with to manage and control the...
If you can get some of our audience members ready, I will come to you in a short while. But it goes back to my question, Mr. Kani. Almost 3 decades into democracy, we're still talking about spatial inequalities. We still don't have proper libraries, sports facilities to keep our children busy. Why?
That's a tough question. But if you look at the area itself, it's very much underdeveloped. And also, if you look at the nature of the homes that are within the area, there's challenges there that needs to be addressed, but not by one single entity, but collectively. We need the Buffalo City Metro to assist. We need our partners like social development to assist. We also need to come up with strategies on crime prevention within the area itself. Otherwise, we'll continuously find ourselves in this situation. One of the houses that I went to, it's a young child that just simply put up a shack. And that child is living alone. There's no parent there. So those are things that we need to prevent so that we don't find ourselves, we don't find our country in this situation at all.
011-714-5958 is the number to dial. Please give us a call. We need your input with regards to how do we get to a better place. We ask you as a nation, what sort of lessons have we learned from this tragedy? It's such a tragic occurrence that happened for this community, but there's a general picture here. When you look at it from a national point of view, what can we learn? How do we get better? Let's take it to our audience members who came. It's late, I know, but you're here and it shows your commitment to getting things done. Tlela, who do we have?
Thank you very much, Blake. My name is Ondela Sokomani. 2 questions for my part. The first one is to the gentleman from SABC. I want to really ask if he's, in all honesty, is he satisfied with the work and with the level of responsiveness of this particular police station in relation to that particular incident. Because we've heard numerous reports that the first cohort of police to have arrived was not even from Sinar Park, when there's a police station a minute's walk from where the incident took place. So the question is really, what were they doing? The second question is to the representative from the liquor board. We want to really question the integrity of the process that leads to the issuing of liquor licenses. Because the facility, as you might have seen, only has one exit, entry and exit point. Secondly, it does not meet the requirements of 5 meters in between the wall and the fence. So exactly how do they sit in offices and just print out liquor licenses without having visited the establishment? So that the integrity of that process, for me, is deeply under question. Lastly, the municipality has pronounced that the facility was never zoned as a business facility to begin with, never mind a liquor outlet. Now, that further deepens the crisis in relation to the integrity of the liquor board process. Because how would you issue a license to a facility which you have not established whether it's been correctly rezoned or not? So we are just deeply indulged in a multiple irregularities. And the whole process is rather, for me, susceptible to grave lengths of corruption.
Right.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much indeed for your questions. Let's take it immediately. I'll come back to our next audience member, to Brigadier Kinana. Let's answer that first question. Just bear in mind that we have Nomclair Tace from the Liquor Board. She'll be coming up shortly, but let's answer his first question.
Thank you very much, Blaine. Obviously, if the situation is as the gentleman there explains it, it's not something that we can be happy about. That is why I have indicated earlier that we must investigate such a conduct so that we can make sure that it is corrected. That is not the service that is deserved by our people. If anyone has been found to have contravened our regulations, our code of conduct, we will definitely take action.
What sort of action? What sort of action? How serious is this? This is very serious. 21 people died. If the police could have got there sooner, could things have been different? That's what the community, I think, is trying to paint in terms of the seriousness of the situation. So maybe the question would be, how serious is this police taking it?
I think it will depend on the nature of investigation that has been conducted. We must collect evidence so that we can make a determination in terms of what action can be taken against that particular individual.
All right, let's take it back to our audience members. Ma'am, if you could tell us your full name and your question or comment.
My name is Reverend Koleka Gavin from the Methodist Church of Southern Africa. I'm standing on behalf of the Bishop of this district, Kumkani Idza. My question is to the Brigadier. I'd like to ask, are there no that you are doing, especially if an event has been advertised, because I'm told that it was on Facebook, to ensure that things like this do not happen? Thank you.
Brig, you can take it.
Thank you very much, Blaine. Thank you, Mema. I must say that we do not have records that this was a formal event which was actually reported, to the police. If it turns out that, as Umamai puts it, that it was reported, that will form part of the investigation that we will definitely conduct and obviously make a report feedback to the community.
Do you have enough capacity, though, in an area like this? Would you agree that there are extremely poor monitoring of liquor license regulations or breaches of liquor license regulations in areas like this?
Let me indicate that we have integrated operations that we conduct almost every weekend in the BCM, in fact, in all the districts, including the BCM. We have focus areas, depends on that particular, weekend, what the focus is, because you have drugs, you've got firearms, you've got, many other crimes that gets committed. So I wouldn't say we don't have capacity. We conduct those operations in different, like yesterday, in collaborations with other stakeholders, including the law enforcement, the liquor board, and many other stakeholders, to make sure that some of these, identified crimes here, shall I say, stopped, from happening in these particular areas. So there is a capacity to deal with those. But we can learn from these incidents and make sure that where gaps have been identified, then we close those gaps.
All right, we're going to take more of your comments in a short while. 0117145958. Also at It's Topical SABC. We also send us your WhatsApp comments. Those numbers will be flashing periodically during the course of the program. The question is, what sort of lessons can we learn with regards to this tragedy? We'll hear from the audience members here, our guests as well. As I say, we bring in the people with answers for the people who have the questions. This is It's Topical. Quick break. More next. Welcome back. We come to you live from Scenery Park here in East London in the Eastern Cape. We're talking about that tragic event that happened exactly a week ago. What are the lessons that we can learn from such a tragedy so that we never, ever experience something similar? At It's Topical SABC is where you can leave your comments. Also 0117145958. We did canvass your views during the course of the week. This is what you had to say. This is the word on the street. This is the word.
Eastern Cape Tavern Tragedy. What should be done to prevent children from accessing bars and alcohol? My heart goes out to all those families where those children, 21 of them, perished in a tavern that should not have been allowed. Where was the liquor board? Where were the police? Why was it not done? You know, neighbors complained. I cried when I heard what had happened.
Umntwana lona 13 years old fine in a tavern. It's a trauma. Understand?
Amapolisa enze umsebenzi wawo nama owners wama tavern like enze okufanele nawe ngeke uthande ngomntanakho like uthi somthole ematshwaleni lo muntu sese underage.
Nami nginengane ekhaya so ziyaphuza ziyadakwa noma ngikhuza nje ze umunye upregnant unomntwana manje ngathi ngimkhuza wangitshela ukuthi ngifuna ukulala naye.
I just want to know, how do you get 60 people, 60 school children in a tavern? How do you let that happen? Any authority, any law-abiding citizen, how could it have something like that happen? I mean, you risk the lives of our future for money.
I think its parents should start taking charge in their children's lives because mostly teenagers go through a lot.
Kids nowadays have glamorized alcohol and alcohol as a way of preventing feeling things, as a way of blocking out their depression and all.
I feel like if it's 18 guys, let's look at IDs to stop them from going inside there in the first place.
Where we buy alcohol, there should be that machine where we tap the cards. Like for now at school we tap our student cards. So in order to access alcohol, we should be able to tap our identification cards.
I am very, very angry at what happened. You cannot just sell alcohol to children who are under the age. There are reasons why it's stated that do not sell this to children under the age of 18. We should not let this happen. We need to work as a community. Thank you.
All right, that's the word on the street. It's very, very important in order to shape the strategy going forward, in order to get us to that better place. In terms of some information that our research department managed to get us, here in South Africa, reportedly, there are around 34,500 taverns. There's around 10,000 shebeens. I'm talking countrywide, reportedly. What does that tell us as a country? I want to tell you a bit more about what the Eastern Cape Liquor Board has to say with regards to the requirements when opening up such establishments. We have some graphics as well. Control, if you could just put that up for our viewers, and I will run through them in real time and give you a sense of what we are talking about. So the proof, and this is among the requirements, there are more. This is among them. Proof of service to ward committee. This should be followed by a report on community consultation from the ward committee within 30 days of lodgement at the application. The slide 2 says that where there is a school or church or place of worship nearby. A report from such institutions concerned must be submitted within 30 days after lodgement. Structural floor plan, and this is what one of our audience members raised, structural floor plan of premises to be used for liquor trading, clearly showing dimensions of each room, all doors, windows, counters, etc. And just the final slide that we have, the proof of approval by the relevant local municipality that the earmarked premises complies with the municipal business regulations, and proof of notification to the South African Police Services to participate in community consultation process. All important, right? But is it followed? Let's bring in a lady in the know, the chairperson of the Eastern Cape Liquor Board, Ms. Nomhle Tace. She joins us live from Johannesburg. She was in Gauteng province, so we said it's really important to bring her into studio. Ms. Tace, good to have you on the program. There was a question with regards to how rigorous these regulations are. First of all, with regards to the tavern concerned, was everything according to spec? Was all the procedures followed with regards to the floor plan, etc.? With regards to the floor plan.
Good evening, Blaine. Good evening, viewers. But also, I want to say good evening to those who are at Scenery Park. I also want to greet the families of the deceased. And allow me, Blaine, before anything, that I express a word of sincere condolences to the families of the deceased and to the entire community that finds itself in this tragic situation. As Eastern Cape Liquor Board, to us, the deceased are not statistics. It's the names of children whose lives were terminated quite at an early age. They've got names, surnames, and birth certificates. And we are deeply, deeply saddened by what has actually happened. And we want to give those families and the community at large that they are in our thoughts and in our prayers during this difficult time. And we as Liquor Board, we are an entity that is in mourning at this stage. Back to what you had said, Blaine. As Liquor Board, before licenses are issued, as reflected when you were prefacing this, all the issues that you alluded to are the issues that as an entity we ensure that they are adhered to. Primarily, I will just go to what one of the members of the public raised as an issue of looking at the floor space. I want to give a clarity on the facility itself. The facility, upon inspection, was compliant to the needs and the requirements for the Liquor Board to consider issuing a license. And as the occurrence had happened, and I also want to express that the inspectors do a full assessment of the facility and give the report back on their findings. And that function is not remotely done. Inspectors will be on the ground and go there and inspect the facility. And what was discovered in the facility at the time of the inspection, before the license was issued, the facility was ready and has complied to the set requirements. However, during this period, it was then discovered that the facility has undergone some alterations. And according to the system that has been adopted, it is very clear from a liquor trader that before the facility could be made new alterations outside the time it was approved, it has to go to the municipality and also advise the liquor board. And in this instance, that did not happen. And therefore, the liquor board would not have known of the alterations that had taken place post what was approved.
Tavern was granted license because you said it initially met all the requirements. But are there no follow-ups? What is the time frame in terms of once a license is issued to the next inspection to make sure that everything is still in compliance?
The inspections are done. The inspectors will randomly go to the facilities just to check if everything is still above board. However, to enhance that, we also work with the SA Police Service and do what we call blitz operations. And those are the random walk-ins to the facilities of the liquor traders to just go and check if everything is adhered to. And in this instance, the last time the facility, like many other facilities, were checked, it was in 2020. And I am sure we will all appreciate that thereafter COVID hit. And obviously, the liquor industry was greatly affected by the liquor bans. So randomly, we do the inspections, we do the checks. And when the last check was made, the facility was still as is as per the time of issuing the license.
All right, let's bring in the audience members now. And Tsiki, if you can get us some audience members who want to talk to us, let's bring them in now. What do you have to say with regards to, you heard Ms. Tace talking a bit about the regulations and what occurred in this particular instance. And Tsiki, let us know.
Yes, please. I have two members of the community here, a lady and a gentleman. I'll start off with Nomtunzi and then Ayanda. Nomtunzi, what is it that you have to say?
All right, it seems that the mic is off. You know what? If you can follow me, let me bring my mic to you so we can get this done, because I think it's very, very important in order to hear your question. Let me just reach out to you as well. I'll hold it from here because I need it back. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Igama lami ndinguNomthunzi Mbiko, ndililungu le South African National Civic Organization apha eBuffalo City. Okokuqala ndizawuthetha mhlawumbi ndisithi sisicelo to i-officials okanye i-departments zikarhulumente, especially le yakwa-SABC. I-police station lena yethu, it started as i-Captain Police Station when it was time of Captain Udasoi. Then it had been upgraded to a Kennel Police Station. But when it was upgraded to a Kennel Police Station, the staff was not upgraded, the staff was not added. So that means there is no, the staff that is here in this police station is not equal to the grade of the police station. And also they have, they also extended even the jurisdiction of the police station. That is an appeal, because also one of the things that made maybe police to fail is the Department of Police not giving us police. Because to me it's as if they are undermining us. That the police had been given a mandate to to defend or to protect us as the community. But if now you don't give those resources to those people that are supposed to be protecting us, what are you doing? Then in connection with this thing of eNyobeni, I am appealing, or I am having this problem. If that the owner of eNyobeni is grieving with the community, how come does he also operating in other areas that he is renting the taverns or whatever, not grieving with us? Because now we are grieving as the nation, we are grieving also as the community. Why is money more important than the lives of our children that had passed in his institution? Because when the alcohol was taken on the 30th, that alcohol was taken on the 30th into his buggy. It went to another tavern that he is operating into. So to me, it's as if money is better than the lives of our children that passed on there. So I would like to appeal also to Liquor Board. Liquor Board, don't be defensive whereas our children had fallen there. Liquor Board, don't be defensive.
Ma'am, thank you very much indeed for your comments. Just raise your hands if you want to ask a question as well. We're going to get some response as well. Brigadier is right here. We're going to take it to Ms. Tace as well. You heard what the lady said. Do you share those sentiments, sir? If you can get up and face the camera. If you can turn around this way, sir.
Oh, okay,
there you go. Your name?
My name is Anthony Sishuba. I'm staying here at Scenery Park. My question is going straight to the police. Firstly, if you look at the police station, next to the police station, there is another tavern. A week before this strategy, there was also a killing there on that tavern, which is next to the police station. But two brigadiers usati apa kuti basa investigator. Each and every incident they investigated till we forget about that incident. Even this one, they will investigate, but akuzuzanto at the end of the day. Secondly, really, Liquor Board, they must be not defensive here, because Liquor Board, they granted the license to that owner. Whereas the city kwabona bayenza routine checks zabo. That renovation was not done in one day. So it means that as the routine checks zabo are not true. Because if bebe yenza routine check yabo, that renovation is not right now, and then they to stop the licensing.
Appreciate your concern, sir, or your question. We're going to take it to the Brigadier Kinana as well as Ms. Tace from the... Is your mic...
I think my mic
is it working? All right, you go ahead and Nsiki.
Ayanda, summarize your questions, please.
Yes, Molweni Bahlali. Igama lami ndingu-Ayanda, mfana mndu-Umbulawa, uchairperson kaSANCO apha eWard 5. If you are saying we need to fight this collectively, but where other stakeholders? Where is Department of Sports? Where is Department of Education? To me, I think there are many stakeholders who are supposed to be here, and this issue, it is very critical. Just for example, why Liquor Board is not here?
They're actually in Johannesburg. She's listening to you, by the way. She's listening to you.
Brigadier, my first question is, Scenery Park Police Station is servicing big areas. And you will find most of the times there's non-availability of events. And according to, this is not a first report, I'm not sure which year, there were 5 abantwana abasoleka be-5 bedutyulwe pha. Up until today, there is no report about Londo. Oh, my second question, Mama Sasa, in going forward, what are the programs and projects that will invest for abantu abatsha? Because the problem apha, urhulumente generally, abantwana abancinci, they are no longer active in those activities, sports. There are two things abantwana abazenzayo. It's either there's a dropout, underage drinking, drugs. But why urhulumente, you will wait up until kwenzeke into enje?
All right. Thank you very much indeed. I think we got. Do we have one more? Let's take one more. Let's take one more comment, and then we'll get some responses.
Oh, ndimnqabisile for Slaka mna. Ndicela ubuza amapoliseni kumphathi lo uthi wamapolisa. Sinengxaki emapolisa because nenza ne-police forum. At the end of the day azinakwa, azithathwa ze-training, abantu abamba abantu abase-police station, lo mntu lo fanisa kunoko ubuya aphinde athathwa agoduswa angabanjwa. Even ngoku in day besikhe sathatha abantu sabasa pha e-police station. We've got a problem pha yokuba abantu xa basephaya kuthiwe abakwazi unikwa ndawo eCambridge because abahoyakali. Abakwazi unikwa ndawo phaya because abecupha balandele ezo cases abantu bafelela phaya kube kuthiwa apha ayikho isisele esilapha kwale police station kuthiwa i-operator iphinde kwakhona izinto ezenzeka zibuhlungu phinde sibe nento ekhoyo pha emapoliseni kuye kuthiwa kukho imali ka-sport and recreation into uthanda ulutsha xa senza izinto ne kuba kuzonza unxulumelo between amapolisa nolutsha but ezo mali ezo asiziboni activities ezenziwayo for ezo zinto so ithi loo nto leyo kwenzeka ntoni kanye kanye because ezo nto phinde zijike phinde sothusane kwasetho.
The gentleman is summarily saying, why is the police forum not empowered to be able to carry out their duties? And the amount that has been set aside for sports and recreation by the South African Police Service, where is that money?
Right. All right, that's your concern. With regards, I'll come back to you, sir. We've got about 5 minutes left on the program. That's the issue. There's never enough time. But let's take it to Brigadier Nomhle. So I hope you can hear those questions. I'm going to come to you next because there were some questions posed for you, Brigadier, with regards to, goes back with regards to the ratio of people versus the ratio of police. Are they able to cope with regards to policing a community such as this? Your response.
Thank you very much, Blaine. I think the lady is correct to say that, of course, there are challenges that they are experiencing. You will appreciate that indeed when the police station was established in the area, there were certain considerations, certain assessments that were made based on the demographics of the area. Yes, and as I speak, I must indicate that the management is going around all the districts trying to make assessment in relation to issues of resources.
So that's currently happening? That's currently happening now?
It's happening. Yeah. We started in Nelson Mandela. The provincial commissioner has been in Nelson Mandela. And over Tambo, we are coming to the BCM.
Right.
Yes, because we have since noted that there are certain issues that need some attention, within our stations. Yes.
I hear you. And maybe the community will say that, why did it take a tragedy to get things in motion?
No, as I have already indicated, we started in Nelson Mandela, or Tambo.
This area in particular,
Yes, we're still coming to this area and other districts as well. So what I'm trying to say, there's a particular attention that is being paid, on our station, especially in relation to issues of, resources, personnel, and the vehicles. I must also indicate that, we do have vehicles in this particular station, but as you would know, at some point vehicles, get broken and they must be taken to garages. But that is not an excuse. But it's the reality of life within, our station. Yes.
All right, Brick. Thank you very much indeed for your answer. I just want to take it to Nomhle Tace from the Eastern Cape Liquor Board. The Liquor Board must stop being defensive. This is a quote from one of our audience members, at least two. Your response, ma'am.
Thank you, Blaine. I want to assure South Africans that as an entity, we will never defend something that cannot be defended. Under the circumstances, I repeat, lives, innocent lives have been lost, and we are coming to the party. I also want to give assurance that whenever we say we have done these inspections, they are recorded, there are details that are put on the files that clearly stipulates that an inspection has been done on such a date. So that information is readily available. And because we're a public entity, our approach is transparency. We are very much transparent as an entity. But we must also remember that there are a number of these facilities that need to be inspected from time to time. So it might well be that something will happen, like these alterations, maybe not having a time frame that is said to have a look in that facility. But we want the communities to trust that we remain truthful in what we say. I also, Blaine, want to touch on...
We have run out of time, Ms. Stacey. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Unfortunately, but this conversation will continue. The SABC is here this whole week, and as long as it takes for us to get answers for the community, that's our aim in this place. Let me give you my final take with regards to what's been happening here. Exactly a week ago, this country was in a paroxysm of pain. Now, I think it's time for society to put purpose to that pain. In times of trouble, South Africans often draw from the highest inspiration of righteousness, and it doesn't matter what religion you belong to. My only hope and prayer for the grieving families and the families of those who survived is that you have some sense or measure of solace in the fact that there are men and women here who are trying to find answers to these societal ills, because we can never allow this tragedy, a similar tragedy, to happen again. And may your faith be rewarded with what you find in your future. The news continues. The Globe is up next. Stand by. Until next week, take care. Bye-bye.